Day 3, Blade and Soul Neo. I'm going to give you a rating right out the gate. This is my first impressions review, so it's not like a review of the actual full game. My rating is as follows. On a scale of 0 through 10, this is something a little bit new because I usually don't give a rating to games, but I'm going to try this for BNS Neo. There's 2 ratings. Rating number 1, what I would rate it as a reviewer. If I were trying to be an objective game reviewer, I would give this game a 4 out of 10. I'm being very generous, I feel like. Hard carried by its combat, but I cannot give this more than a 4 out of 10. The best phrase to describe this game would be a blast from the past. This is very clearly designed for people that really enjoyed playing this game and want to get back into it. But if we were to rate this game as a new MMO title compared to the modern day MMOs, I'm being extremely generous. I feel like giving it a 4 out of 10. 0 out of 10, how much fun did I have? Which is the second rating. I would give it about a 6.5. Obviously, very subjective, even more subjective. Even the first rating is subjective, but this is even more subjective because this is just how much fun I had. So you cannot tell me I'm wrong about this because I'm telling you how much fun I had. Okay, so if you're going to argue with that rating, you're essentially arguing me, telling me that I did not have that much fun. Okay, so that's not how that works. 6.5 I would give it, and that's mainly because, again, combat is really, really good in this game. Also, my experience was a lot better because I had like BNS pros essentially walk me through the game, really hold my hand and help me to understand. There are certain elements that were good, certain elements that were bad. You know, but overall, yeah, I had fun playing it. Straight up, I did. I don't think the game is amazing, but I had fun playing it. So let's get into this. Right out the gate, the leveling experience, it's very boring, but it's very nice and convenient compared to other MMOs. As someone that likes to just go through this, I'm not listening to the story, and I just want to get to the end game and experience the loop. And I'm more in line with a vertical progression focus. As that type of gamer, I really appreciated and enjoyed how I could just insta-teleport to every single quest and get right to the end. You know, I don't have to worry about min-maxing the leveling route. You just do the MSQ, and when you finish it, you're max level. It's as simple as that, right? Also, I like the fact that this game has everything capped at level 36, so you can essentially start doing the end game grind right out the gates. But you know, keep in mind that this review is based off of the level 36 content. It's not based off of the level 45 content. There is more things to come at level 45, which is set to release either next week or the week after. So obviously the content is way more limited up to level 36. Again, this is first impressions based off of the first 36 levels and the current end game, the current content that's in the game. So I'm not going to give the game points simply because of content that's upcoming. Certainly not for content that's upcoming a week or 2 later that I have never experienced. But overall, the questing, going back to the questing was kind of boring. I also didn't like how the quests were essentially copy pasted. And that could be a little bit unfair because this is a very old game. But again, I'm just kind of putting it up against modern day MMOs because that's what it is. It's 2025. I don't think we should cut it slack or anything like that if we're going to compare it to other. I feel like we shouldn't give it extra points simply because it's an older game, if that makes sense. It was certainly better. It certainly would have been better and more acceptable for like back in the day for its time. But I want to compare it to modern day MMOs. Like the fact that dungeons were essentially copy pasted. You know, it was just very repetitive. The new endgame loop, when you get to the endgame, I felt like it was just very confusing for new players. Again, I had the luxury of having seasoned experienced vets really walk me through the game, but not everyone has that. I can't imagine playing this game solo, where a lot of people are, playing this game solo with no experience with BNS and being able to figure out what it is you're doing. And it's very difficult to actually come across guide content for this game because no one's covering it. No one's actually making content around it. There is a website that you can go to that kind of shows you certain things, but I mean, that content only goes so far, and who the hell wants to go to a third-party website, right, to learn the game? It could just be very confusing. It very much seems like it's designed for people that actually already know what to do. You know, a great example is the skill system. You have to equip the skills to accessories. You know, how's a new player gonna know how to extract the skill? You know, the game, you can kind of figure out that you put the skill into the accessory, which by the way is confusing. But then how's a player to know whether or not he can take that or extract it out for free at a cost if it's gone? All of these questions that a new player would have, the game doesn't really do a good job explaining that system to you. How you actually vertically progress at the end game. What is it that you need to do? If you know the game, you know you need to do your faction dailies, you craft your weapon, and there's even a system to that, right? And all of this is just unknown. What the hell are Valor Stones? You need to get Valor Stones to buy skill books, which are very important, and that is just a very confusing system. Overall, when you get to the end game and you start working on progression, the TLDR is that it essentially is very confusing for new players, and it's very difficult for a lot of the players to figure out what it is that they need to do. Next point that is on my list is the amount of content. The amount of content that is in the game. The content is certainly lacking, but to be fair, it's first week, level 36 is capped. I think it's okay and it's good that there isn't too much content in the game. But as of now, essentially what you're doing is you're just doing your faction dailies, you're doing your world boss farm, and you're farming the same dungeon 10 times. And 10 times farming that, look, I've been doing the end game dungeon for level 36. There is no chance I'm going to be farming that 10 times a day. There's no way. And it's fresh content for me. I'm a relatively new BNS player. Honestly, very boring to farm that 10 times a day. And I feel like when you are in the honeymoon stage of a game, a brand new game launch, if a player starts feeling like it's already boring and burnt out, that's not good. This is obviously not the same case for everyone. I'm sure there's plenty of people that enjoy doing this dungeon 10 times, but I'm already burnt out of it. Fortunately for the game, though, this changes rather quickly, a week, 2 weeks later. But like I said, this is based off of the first 36 levels. As of now, you know, day 3, I am actually already burnt out. I don't want to farm that. Like I have, as you can see, 52 Hung Moon Blessing right here, which means I can farm that dungeon another 6 times. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to do it. Now, with that said, there is a pro to the fact that there isn't too much content. It's not super overwhelming. And that gearing vertically right now, you don't have to be super sweaty. It's actually extremely free to play friendly. You can take advantage of the market right now. You can sell a lot of your stuff. You don't have to go super sweaty. There is no real hard FOMO pressure, you know, making you want to min-max everything simply because you know that 45 is coming out relatively soon. And if it's coming out soon, you don't have to be in the best gear. And I like the fact that right now for the first week, a lot of players, especially free-to-play players, don't feel that pressure of being in min-maxed gear as fast as they can. It's more about, hey, let's get these drops and maybe make some end coin or gear up ourselves, whatever that may be. I feel like that's in a pretty good place right now. Endgame dungeon experience right now, the last dungeon, I forgot what it was called, Tomb of the Exile. It is very easy mechanically. However, I would say it's just very boring and repetitive by design. Like if the actual design of the dungeon, it's not something that you're like, oh, this is a great experience. I mean, it's fun, but most dungeons are fun the first few times you do it, but after you do it a few times, you're pretty much done with it. Now, with that said, I won't say that it's necessarily a bad dungeon. Again, for the endgame dungeon, that being the endgame dungeon for the first 36 levels and for the first week, I think it's pretty good, not too bad. You know, I think the expectation level of the endgame dungeon for level 36 content, when higher level content's going to come out a week or two later, I think that expectation should be a little bit lower. However, I'd be lying to you if I told you that it was fantastic, right? However, I will say this, doing the dungeons are a lot more fun simply because of the combat, which is kind of my next point. The combat in this game is insanely good. Combat is just really, really good. It hard carries the game. And if you can figure out how to get your skills, upgrade your skills, get your green books, whatnot, the combat gets even better. So if you're frustrated in the beginning, it gets better. If you liked it in the beginning, then you're going to really love it once you get all of your skills. A lot of people, you're asking me right now, what's better combat-wise, BDO or BNS? I know for a fact there are a lot of people that think BNS is better. And the fact that it's even in that conversation is a testament to how good it really is. My personal opinion, for an action combat game, I think BNS combat is better. However, or excuse me, BDO combat. I think BDO combat is better. However, for PvE content, I think BNS combat is actually better. To be perfectly honest, I think for PvE raid / dungeon content, BNS combat is better. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah, this game is hard carried by the combat, and once you get your skills, if you do have the ability to get those skills, it's good. It's good, right? It certainly hard carries the game. If the combat was bad in this game would just be trash. Sorry, I mean it's that simple. The next thing that I want to talk about is the guild system. I think the guild system is one of the worst guild systems that I've ever experienced in an MMO. The fact that you can only have 10 people in your guild, there's just no reason for that. I think that's just stupid. I've heard some arguments for it, and every single argument I've heard for it is just bad reasoning, in my opinion. And it costs so much just to upgrade your guild. Like, do you want to upgrade your weapons, or do you want to upgrade the guild? It's just a very bad system. Guys, think about this, 10 people. And it's going to cost you a fortune just to expand it to 15 people per guild. It's terrible. The second last thing on my list is the lack of PvP content, obviously. Now, there's actually a decent amount of PvP content in the open world right now just because of the faction. Everyone's kind of new, getting into it. Arenas are not yet in the game. However, NC America made clear that they have or heard the feedback, and they are trying to push for it, which is good news, I guess. And there is a 6v6 that's coming out pretty soon, but that not being in the game really sucks too, because this game obviously has a big focus and big following for its PvP, so that needs to be in the game. Yeah, the last thing on my list, when it comes to the monetization, this is absolutely a pay-to-win game. However, for the first 2 days, I went completely free to play, minus the obvious Founders Pack that I did get. Essentially, what I'm saying is I played the first 2 days. I played more like a free-to-play player, which is I get good gear, I sell it for N coin, right? Because free-to-play players should be doing that, especially in the first week. Based off of my very short experience, the pay-to-win as of now for this game, systematically, even though it is for sure pay-to-win, the pay-to-win, it's not that bad. And right now, it does seem like it's less pay-to-win than even Throne. And Throne, in my opinion, is the least pay-to-win game for a pay-to-win game from Korea. So that should say a lot, but it's also early. It's too early to tell. But it does seem relatively easy to make. N-Coin, I mean, I made like 2,500 N-Coin the first day, and it wasn't even crazy. My friend Astral, he made 5k N-Coin the first day. People are just juicing N-Coin, and I know that has a lot to do with just week one and whatnot, but there were milestones in place as well in Throne. It just seems pretty easy to make N-Coin. Maybe that changes later on. It got to the point where I started enjoying making N-Coin even more than upgrading my gear, just because of how much cash up currency I was making by playing the game. It kind of felt pretty good as a free-to-play player to make that N-Coin. That's pretty much it, guys. And if you are wondering about my gear, today, the last day, I did try to push as far as I could with my gear. I'm not really sure if this is a game that I'm going to continue to play. If I do, it's because the combat is fun, and I enjoy playing with my friends. Playing today with other streamers and my friends and my community in the raid dungeon was really fun. And even though the dungeon by design is boring and it wasn't super great, it was still fun for me because I really enjoy playing my class, and the combat is fantastic, right? I have a lot of stuff coming up. I'm not sure how much time I'm going to be investing into BNS, but I see BNS for me personally as kind of like a secondary non-main game. Yeah, I might continue to play it off stream. I mean, who knows? Maybe I do play it on stream. Maybe I come back for the 45 content. I'm not really sure. So yeah, this is pretty much what I have. This is my, some of you guys have been asking me for my gear. This is pretty much what I was able to get done. I got 3 pieces from the last dungeon here. The rest from Pinchy. We got a Soul Desert badge. I got very lucky with this. And then these 2 gear pieces here, and I'm at 314, 317, 466, working on the cards. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Those are my first impressions. Okay, very subjective review. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.